The split happened, like I said, after March of 2008. Sean went and restarted NWA Indiana, started running, I think, at the Lafayette Theater.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, his first show was at the Armory, and then they went to the Lafayette Theater.
And then, we were running our thing, and so, obviously, just like back in the late 90s, it was always about, well, how could we, we want to beat these guys and all this and that. I mean, I remember, actually, before the split, there was talk of like 5 guys going with Sean. And, and I remember Brian had a heartfelt message. He called everyone, the Lafayette guys in, and he said, laid it all out what was going on. And I remember, because, Brian is a very sensitive guy. And I remember him kind of tearing up or whatever, because it sucked for him to have to say what he had to say, And I remember, and after he finished, he's like, does anyone have any questions or anything? And I remember raising my hand and kind of smirked. He's like, yeah, wait, because we talked. Hadley and I talked with him. Said, dude, we're with you. Hey, freaking, I don't care who the hell else goes. And I remember who the 5 guys were, and we ended up retaining 2 of them. So that was cool. They stayed with us or whatever. Because Sean had this whole thing that, we can't wrestle in the same city, can't book the same talent and all that stuff.
Yeah, which seems to be pretty popular in this town, but we'll get to that later.
But Brian was, hey, open door, you could wrestle for us and them and all that stuff. Sean wouldn't have it. Sean guy wouldn't have it. So, and it's funny, the 2 guys that actually stayed were KJ and Frost. The other 3 guys were, I think, Gibson, Patterson, and Houston. They ended up going, which is cool. No heat, we understood they had loyalties or whatever. And we had our loyalties. We backed Brian, And like I said, in the end, we talk about winning the war. No one really won. To this day, we're still trying to put Lafayette wrestling back together again.
Yeah.
We're doing our best. It may not be the greatest, and like I said, we'll get to that here in a little while. But, it is our version of maybe how it should be, But like I said, back then, the split, like I said, it affected Brian.
I remember it affecting us. I remember Martin had told me after the March show, he's like, hey, give me a call this week. I was like, okay. And I called him the next day, and he explained to me the whole deal with Sean and Guy pretty much ambushing him and saying, we're bringing our company back. You can either bow down and join us, or we'll run you out of business. And Martin tells me this, and I was on the phone with him for like 3 hours. And I remember that whole week on our lunches, because at the time we were both working third shift with separate companies. And I remember we spent every lunch that week calling each other on the phone and be like, this is BS, I can't believe they're doing this. And we'd be venting on our lunch every day. We'd be venting, if it wasn't then, it would be like 5 in the evening at home. It was like, it just was to the point where and the thing is, to be honest, it was kind of a blessing in disguise also, because it forced us to step up. To me, it's like you hear those behind the musics where like Shania Twain had to step up and take care of her daughters because her parents died or whatever. Like, that's kind of what it was. It was like, oh, so now everything's kind of up to us. We don't have, Brian and Martin didn't have a favor Sean and Guy could pull.
It was like a coming of age kind of thing.
Yeah. It was just kind of one of those, it's do or die, sink or swim, and that kind of really, I think in a way it almost kind of helped prepare us for where we are now.
Yeah, like I said, so everything happens, for a reason, and that's cool. It happened how it happened, and even good or bad, I guess, it all turned out all right. That concludes chapter 3. I know we're a little winded on this one.
Yeah.
But
more to come.
Yeah. It's a never dull moment.